Hey, Shalom, Shabbat Yonathan. All right, first and foremost, I want to give all praises to the Most High, Yahweh, Bahashem, Yahushai, Bahashem, Rakah HaKodash. I want to give double honors to the apostles and the elders of Great Millstone. I want to say Shalom to all the brothers and, of course, the few sisters who are pursuing this truth in sincerity. All right? May the blessing of election be upon your house. Yesterday at Wednesday camp, I looked up the word pandemonium because we were talking about the state of chaos that America, Babylon the Great is getting ready to be in, and how everybody should be in the spirit of making sure they're making no tarrying to cleave unto the Lord, okay? Because you want to be hidden in the day of the Lord's anger. There's going to be those who have a covering during this chaotic time, but majority of the people are not. As the scriptures say, there be many more of them which perish than of them which shall be saved. But when you look up that word pandemonium, I looked it up on the Edom Online first, and we're going to look it up just the regular Google definition as well. Okay? Bear with me really quick while I pull it up. You look that word pandemonium up in the Edom Online. The definition says paradise lost. And most people, in their mind, they think America's like a paradise. It's the land of the free. It's the American dream. They still believe in that bullshit. But this paradise is this so-called paradise, which is really just a jail cell for the nation of Israel, is about to be completely unraveled and destroyed. Okay? Not only do the elites want this place out of the way, Yahweh Bashim Yahushai wants this place out of the way. Okay? America's the main corporation that the elites use to forward their wickedness in the earth, but they're getting ready to shift gears, okay? And along with shifting those gears, they want to get rid of those who cleave unto Yahweh Shem Yahushua, which the bulk of the nation of Israel is going to be here in the Americas, all right? Of course, we're scattered into every nation under heaven, but this is, you know, the place in which the true gospel has gone out in the earth. So under the midst of all this chaos, this devil's going to be trying to persecute those who fear the Lord. Yeah, they're going to be getting rid of, you know, just the 2/3. A lot of 2/3 going to be cut up in a lot of shit. But there's going to be special forces and special out forces specifically trying to get rid of the prophets and those who cleave unto the Lord. Okay? It's your search history. They know you've been watching. They know what you believe. You know what I mean? There's going to be people that's their job. So under the guise of all this chaos, they're going to try to get the ones they really know is the problem. Okay, but the Lord's going to lift up a standard. Alright, and it's going to be beautiful. They're going to be delivered in a greater fashion than we were delivered out of Egypt. Now, this word pandemonium, it says paradise lost. It says the name of a palace built in the middle of hell. It says the name of a palace built in the middle of hell. Okay, we know hell and heaven are living conditions pursuing the scriptures, all right? Right now, the nation of Israel, we're living in a hellish state. We're under the curses, okay? We have the elites, the wicked. The earth was given into their hands pursuing to Job 9 and 24. They're living in a heavenly state, man. Everything is accessible to them. But they're getting ready to be knocked off of that throne, okay? So it says a palace built in the middle of hell, the high capital of Satan and all of his peers. In America, I always say America's the epicenter in which the perverted vibration of Esau Edom is pushed. Whenever they want a nation to be even deeper in its clutches, they'll send America and its military over there to give them democracy. They'll use America and its media engine to spin a narrative about a particular person or nation or people, to justify the evils that they want to forward. Right? So it says the high capital of Satan and all his peers. And pursuing the 2 Thessalonians, let me go get it real quick. And I might get it in the NLT. I like the way it reads there. Go to 2 Thessalonians. Bear with me while I load this. 2 Thessalonians 2 and verse 9, it says, even him whose coming is after the working of Satan with all power and signs and lying wonders. Actually, let's start at verse 7. This is in the KJV. I'll jump over to the NLT after I read it in the KJV. It says 2 Thessalonians 2 and 7. It says, for the mystery of iniquity doth already work. Only he who now letteth will let until he be taken out of the way. During Paul's time, he was giving a hint to the church that this man of sin, you know, he's already in the works. He's already doing the shit. Because the Romans were in power at the time, and the Romans are Edomites, and the nation of Esau was prophesied to be ruling upon the return of the Lord. So in the second chapter 6 and 9, Jeremiah 50:51, you know, it's just written, you know, who would be in power upon the Lord's return. All right, verse 8, it says, and then shall that wicked be revealed, whom the Lord shall consume with the spirit of his mouth, and he's being consumed by the prophets. The prophets are making inquisition, exposing this man for everything that he desires to do, and they're catalysts for the elect being woken up through Yahweh, right? Even and also, the Lord is literally going to consume this man upon his return. You go to 2 Ezra, the 13th chapter. It talks about the Lord just zapping all the nations and their armies upon the fathership. All right, and shall destroy with the brightness of his coming, even him whose coming is after the working of Satan, with all power and signs and lying wonders. Now let's read it in the NLT, 2 Thessalonians 2 and 7. It says, for this lawlessness is already at work secretly, and it will remain secret until the one who is holding it back steps out of the way. So the big reveal of how it's all going to go down, who the wicked is, who, you know, all the major players, was for this time. The Lord is stepping out of the way and letting everything be seen plainly. All the prophecies are speaking, jumping off of the page. Right? Verse 8. Then the man of lawlessness will be revealed, but the Lord Yahweh will kill him with the breath of his mouth and destroy him with the splendor of his coming. This man will come to do the work of Satan with counterfeit power through his technology, all right, through his spell casting, all right, that media, his ability to spin a narrative and have people internalize the narrative that he spent. That's magic. That's counterfeit power. Okay? Satan with counterfeit power and signs and miracles. He will use every kind of evil deception to fool those on their way to destruction. So the only people that are going to be ensnared in his counterfeit power are those who are allotted to destruction anyway. Because they refuse to love and accept the truth that would save them. So God will cause them to be greatly deceived. And they will believe these lies. Then they will be condemned for enjoying evil rather than believing the truth. Because the elect are going to despise the evil of this world. They're going to be sighing and crying for the abominations being done in the midst thereof, as stated in Ezekiel 9 and 4. The elect aren't going to be cool with this place. They're not going to be going along to get along. They're not going to be complicit with the evil that's forwarded. Alright? So we look up that word pandemonium. Again, it's the high capital of Satan and all his peers. This is the epicenter in which that vibration is pushed. Okay? His wine, his philosophy, like it talks about in Habakkuk 2. Okay? Now let's get pandemonium just in a regular definition. And let's see how that goes. Pandemonium refers to a state or place of wild uproar, chaos, and unrestrained disorder, and that's what's coming to this society. There's no reversing it. It says a state or place of wild uproar, chaos, and unrestrained disorder. Okay, let's go to the Apocrypha. Right, this is 2nd Ezra 15, and we're going to start at verse 14. And actually, I want to read this in the GNT. So we're going to go to 2nd Ezra again. We're going to 2nd Ezra 15. We'll start at verse 14. It reads, "The world and the people in it are doomed. The war that will bring their destruction is very near. Nations will arm themselves and fight against other nations." All right, and that's going to trickle down all the way to just the ordinary civilians too. It's going to trickle down to everybody. Okay? Nations will arm themselves and fight against other nations. World War III. Okay, there's going to be infighting amongst the nations that are even at war. There's going to be civil wars, fighting on every level, even up to the elites. Man, you got particular elites that they want more power than was promised to them. So there's going to be even backstabbing going on up top. Okay, there will be great political turmoil, which we see, with one group trying to overpower another and gain control, while ignoring the legitimate government. Okay, all these little militia groups. Okay, again, there's gonna be a lot of these low-level Edomites, man. They gonna finally snap out of that shit. And they be like, oh, these bankers got us fucked up. There's gonna be that going on too, while ignoring the legitimate government. So again, like we read in Pandemonium, the definition of it, right? Unrestrained disorder. That's what it said, right? Let's keep reading. "There will be great political turmoil, with one group trying to overpower another and gain control while ignoring the legitimate government. There will no longer be free access to the cities," and they're trying to, make 15-minute cities to where you're restrained to a particular zone of a town. And to get access to other zones, you're going to have some kind of identification device. Okay? And even within your identification device, only particular people who have particular status or connections or, positions are going to be able to, move around, have more mobility than the average person. Okay? J.D. Vance is somebody who's pro that structure. Okay, I'm actually doing a lesson on him and Peter Thiel. We'll get into what these people are trying to forward, because even if we're here after Trump finishes up his term, they put Peter Thiel in there. There's a lot more bullshit he wants to forward. He's the next phase if we are here. Goes on to say, there will no longer be free access to the cities because the struggle for power will bring destruction, terror, and total confusion wherever people live. Driven by famine and terrible suffering, people will assault their neighbors and mercilessly plunder their possessions. And you've seen a lot of that with that recent documentary that just came out with Katrina. And we knew a lot of this was going on anyway, okay? But a lot more of it was revealed. A lot more people coming out and giving their testimonies about what was going on, what those damn Edomites were doing down there in Louisiana. And that was in a green tree, so to speak. It wasn't super crazy. It's about to get way worse. What are people going to be doing when that desperation is nationwide? So we looked up that word pandemonium. I figured I wanted to share it with you and look into it a little bit more. Sorry, this truck is loud, so I get that. But Abaratazah, the lesson was edifying. I want to give all praises once more to Yahweh, Bahashem, Yahushai, Bahashem, Rakah Kodash. I want to give double honors to the apostles and the elders of Great Millstone. I want to say shalom to all the brothers and, of course, a few sisters who are pursuing this truth and sincerity. May the blessing of election be upon your house. Shalom.